Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this our return episode after a 2-week break, March 11th, 2024, we're going to be covering a range of topics including everything that has happened over those 2 weeks that we took a break on. James Gunn revealing stuff about Superman Legacy, or Superman, we've got to talk about that. Title change as well. We're going to be talking about what's happening with Superman Lois. We're going to be talking about the comic books. So much to get through. And joining me once again is my good friend Mark Lax. Hey, Mark.
Hello, Steve. How you doing?
Doing well, and yourself?
Not too bad.
That's good. Missed being on the show over the past 2 weeks. I was jet setting over to New Zealand, the South Island of New Zealand, which is just a 3-hour flight here from Sydney, Australia, where I live. And I can tell you, if you need to go somewhere for a vacation, South Island of New Zealand is picture perfect. It is just glorious. The further south you go, it just gets better and better. So definitely worth a visit if it's on your bucket list. I would highly recommend going to the South Island of New Zealand. Well worth it. But I'm happy to be back. Lots happened during the time that I was away, but I did manage to keep on top of it. Whenever we were back in Wi-Fi at our hotel, or back at a truck stop, a cafe stop, or somewhere along the way, because we were on a coach tour, I jumped back onto Wi-Fi and had a look at what would happen, and was trying to stay on top of posting all the news. And there was quite a bit that happened over this past 2 weeks.
Yeah, a few things that surprised me, and it's as it gets closer, more and more things are going to pop up.
Yeah.
There was one very big item that happened that I think we all have an opinion on.
Yeah, for sure. Just quickly, yeah. JP in the comments has said just a 3-hour tour. No, it's a 3-hour flight from Sydney to Christchurch in New Zealand. We were there for 11 days doing a coach tour around the South Island, and then a 3-hour flight back after those 11 days. So I just wanted to clarify, it's just a 3-hour flight, but we spent 11 days in the South Island of New Zealand. It's been a while since I've taken a holiday, a vacation, so it was nice to get away and to explore what is a beautiful country. But let's get into all the topics for this episode of Superman Homepage Live. A lot to get through, covering stuff that we missed or that we covered on the website and our socials, but obviously haven't had a chance to talk about here on the live show because we haven't been doing it for the last 2 weeks. And the main one is that, yes, as I mentioned, it's no longer Superman Legacy. That was the title for the script treatment that James Gunn along the way as he was writing it, but he's now simply titled the movie Superman, which seems fitting, but we do have to, we've always discussed the 1978 film as Superman the movie. This is just Superman.
Right. I guess Superman the movie officially is Superman the movie, although when you see the movie, it says Superman. It doesn't say Superman the movie. When Superman comes up, it doesn't say Superman the movie. It just says Superman. But no, we always call it Superman the movie. So obviously this one is just Superman.
And, I think we'll
there's been other...
putting in parentheses, brackets around it, 2025, just to clarify, which year the movie came out in. But what do you think? Do you like it?
Yeah, no, it is a Superman movie, so wasn't sure.
Maybe we're back. Let's have a look. Can folks hear us again? I think we're back live. Don't know what happened there for a couple of minutes. We went offline. The whole system froze. So hopefully everyone can hear us again, and we're back on the same feed. Just let us know quickly in the comments if that is the case. But we are back, so it looks like we're all good. We're talking about the title of Superman Legacy, now called just Superman. Personally, I like it. Legacy, I don't know what it meant really at the time. Obviously looking back at the legacy of the character and trying to stay true to that. But I think simplifying it down to Superman is probably a good thing. So happy for that to happen.
Yes. Yeah, me too. There's no reason to have something after it or before it, or it's just Superman.
Yep, makes sense. So, but the other thing that was revealed at the same time was a photo And James Gunn did say, when I finished the first draft of the script, I called the film Superman Legacy. But by the time I locked the final draft, it was clear the title was simply Superman, making our way to you July 2025. And he released an image of what appears to be the front of the Superman costume with a bit of snow around, because we do know that they were filming in a snowy area. We'll get to that in a second. But the symbol, as we anticipated, based on the table nameplates that we saw on the table reading, is very reminiscent of the Kingdom Come Superman symbol, but with obviously a yellow background behind the red S and a yellow border around the S, which kind of, I think, highlights that it's not just a strip going diagonally across, but because of the thickness at the top and the fact that there is a yellow border around, brings to mind the S a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But what's funny, I was just recently, just recently rereading Superman for All Seasons, and right at this, it had just come out, and there's a panel in there that's, I mean, the S is not exactly the same, but it's the exact same. I wish you can bring it up, put it back, and put it next to each other. It's almost exactly the same. I mean, the S is a little different, but it just, like, that panel looked exactly like that, the way that shield is.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Now,
whether that's where he's going,
he took it from that.
Yeah, who knows? I did see someone post like a side by side showing obviously the Superman Kingdom Come logo, but then the Fleischer logo and the regular Superman logo, and if you kind of think about all three together, it's very kind of reminiscent of all three kind of combined. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it looks on the costume. I did see quite a few comments in regards to the fact that the S, like the material, is not as complicated as the Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Justice League films. Like, the design qualities in there, I don't mind that, because I think that was probably too far, with too much design happening with all the Kryptonian writing within it and this, that, all that kind of stuff. But here it's just the same material as the rest of the costume, which is, I think, how it should be. It shouldn't be raised. It shouldn't be, I mean, there is a little bit of embossing to it, but it's a little bit more part of the costume, and I think that's probably the way I like it best.
Yes, I like that best too. I was not. I mean, it's not that I hated the Superman Returns costume, but I just didn't like the way that S was just was raised, kind of bold. I didn't particularly like that. I like that it's all one pattern, more or less.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, it'll be interesting. I am a little bit disappointed that it's not a familiar standard S shape. I'm a traditionalist. I like to see, the way that the S curls at the bottom, and at the top we've got that, little triangle. I'm very much a traditionalist in that sense. But, look, we haven't had... I mean, Man of Steel took a completely different tact. Superman Returns, as you said, was a 3D kind of applique that was put on top. Even the Christopher Reeve costume, which is probably the most traditional, isn't exactly the way the S, as we've seen, that is the trademark. But I think probably the closest we've ever seen is Superboy costume.
Yeah, I think so. It's I'm a traditionalist too, but they can't copy exactly everything the way we want them to do.
No, we're never going to be 100% happy.
Right, between the comics and all the different movies and TV series and all that, they all have their own take on it. Mm-hmm. So obviously, James Gunn and the rest, they really want to have their own. They want to. I mean, I could see where it's more traditional than Man of Steel, but they want to have their own take their own look. So
Yeah.
that's fair.
Fair enough. Now, James Gunn also revealed the image. Someone asked him on his Threads social media account if what versions of Superman other than Richard Donner's 1978 film inspired this upcoming 2025 film, and he says, "Where do I start?" and then posted a series of 10 images from various eras of Superman, and here are the inspirations for Superman 2025. We've got the Breaking Chains image from Joe Shuster's 1939 Superman #1. I think it was on the back cover or the inside back cover. All-Star Superman is in there. The Fleischer animated shorts. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow from Superman #423. Superman for All Seasons. Kingdom Come, obviously. A poster of the Superman family of characters from the Giant Superman Annual #6. The cover by Michael Choi for the New 52's Action Comics #4. That's the one with the jeans and the boots and the t-shirt. We've got Superman the Animated Series of the shirt rip. A page from Action Comics 1035 showing a loving moment between Superman and Lois. So there's some great images there that really kind of led me to be very hopeful about where this story for this film is going, if these are the inspirations behind James Gunn's script.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, a lot of people online have had some things to say about it, but you know what? I'm looking here and I'm looking at from Golden Age, more or less up to current times, and some of the most popular, stories and all that, and it's just showing me that this is most of what I'm looking at is the type of is a Superman story that I like. I mean, I was not a big fan of the New 52, but I mean, he's showing the Silver Age and he's showing the Golden Age, and he even shows the Bronze Age and Kingdom Come and Superman the Animated Series, Superman for All Seasons. I mean, those are all. Most of those things are things that we love and that we talk about all the time, and the type of stories that we enjoy. And if he's taking inspiration from that, then I have no problem with it.
I agree. Michael Bailey, who's obviously not back with the show for a while yet, has posted on his social media accounts about how hopeful and how buzzed he is for this film based on what he's seen so far from James Gunn. He is all in and is looking forward to this more than he has any other Superman film for quite some time. So I'm hoping Michael and the rest of us are all very happy when we come to sit in the theatre in July 2025 to watch this movie, because so far James Gunn is saying all the right things, and the inspirations for the film and the story for the film bode well. So fingers crossed that he's not just putting out images that he knows people will be happy to see, but he's actually taking inspiration from some of those stories.
Right. Definitely.
All right, so the cast and crew have been out and about, especially Rachel Brosnahan, at a number of awards and things like that. She was at the Screen Actors Guild Awards in late February, and she did a number of red carpet interviews talking about Superman, why she was drawn to the role of Lois Lane. And here are a few. I can't play them all, but here are a couple of videos from interviews that she did, one with Variety and one with Deadline.
About this Lois that made her right for you? What is it that you kind of want to put out there into the world with her? What was it about her that made you be like, yeah, I got to do this?
Well, I grew up on the Donner Superman movies with Chris Reeve and Margot Kidder, and I have always loved Lois Lane. She's smart and ambitious and can be funny, and she knows that she's the smartest person in the room more often than not. And
So that's a bit of the Variety interview. You can watch that one in full at our website, and here's what she told Deadline.
Lois Lane, how did you prepare to play such a cinematic icon, so beloved? What did you do ahead of time? How are we going to feel about her?
Oh God, well that question I can't answer. We haven't started shooting the movie yet, so I'm still preparing. I'm talking to some journalists, I'm reading a lot of comics. There's so many that I hadn't read before, and so it's been really fun just to dig into this universe. And we were just out in Atlanta.
So there she is talking about reading all these comic books that she didn't know of and hadn't read before. Obviously this was before they started filming. We do know now that they have started filming the film, but this was in late February when she did these interviews. And very cool to see that she's diving right in and is a very big fan of the character.
Absolutely. And of course she mentions, Chris Reeve and Margot Kidder, so to many people like us that that hits home. So
indeed,
I think she's gonna have a good handle on the character.
Yep, I think so too. So we'll wait and see where that goes and how well she does. 1 second. So yeah, just replying to a message there. Rachel Brosnahan also did a short video on TikTok where she had this little interesting post. Let's have a look. Rachel with a couple of friends dropping by. I had that ready to post. Here it is. What'd you think?
I thought that was very cute. I like I like that.
So
they
David
seem to be having fun so far.
Yeah, exactly. They seem to be getting along. David Corenswet, obviously, with the beanie on, masking what kind of hairstyle he has. So it's kind of interesting. But then on the other hand, you've got Nicholas Hoult, who's playing Lex Luthor, showing proudly that he's cleanly shaven, bald, as Lex Luthor should be.
Yep.
And using the Donna theme.
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't know. No, I don't know if that was her thing to say, "Hey guys, let's do this," or James Gunn or somebody said, "Oh, why don't you?" I don't know, but whatever idea it was very cute, and it was I enjoyed it.
I think the cast are doing their own thing. 'Cause a few of them posted images of their nameplate at the table reading, which I don't know if they were supposed to, and posted it on socials, and that got everybody talking about the symbol of the Superman logo or shield that was on there. But she wrote, "A supervillain, a journalist, and an alien walk into a bar." That was the little thing that she put there with the video on TikTok. So yeah, cute to see that they're all getting along and posting stuff there. So really interesting to see how well they do and what the chemistry is like between the cast members. So that was just a cute little video, but we do have a full cast photo that James Gunn posted on, where is it? No, that's Rachel. There it is, the cast photo. We've got, it says, after the table reading with Superman cast, Eve, Mr. Terrific, Superman Clark, Otis, Lex, producer Peter Safran, Jimmy, Metamorpho, Lois, Hawkgirl, me, Guy, the engineer, all together for the first time. What a wonderful day. And that was interesting to see them all together, and we were all very happy to see that they're all showing themselves, except still David Corenswet is hiding behind everybody, not showing us what his physique is like, got a cap on, not showing us what his hair is like. Very interesting composition of who is standing where.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool how they did that. They're all together,
one big happy family,
smiling now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to see that photo of all the cast together, and then but one member who was not seen in that photo, who we now know is part of the film, Wendell Pierce, has been cast as Perry White for Superman, now the 2025 film, this new film. He is obviously best known for The Wire is one of the things he's been in before, HBO's crime series, and will be playing Perry White in the upcoming Superman film. I did see a lot of people talking about this, saying what happened to Perry White being white, but it's not the first time that we have seen a black Perry White. It was in Superman Returns, My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah, Man of Steel.
Sorry, Man of Steel, not Superman.
It's Superman Returns.
Yeah, that was obviously different Perry White, but yeah, so it's not unheard of, and he's a part character. He's a side character. He's part of the Daily Planet cast. Not necessarily that it's true to what the original character was back in the 40s and 50s, when, let's face it, everybody was white. There was no representation in any of the comic books or TV shows of that time. So this is more indicative of what the workforce would be like in 2024.
Yes, and to be, the true Perry White and really, become exactly who he is and what he represents and all of that. It doesn't matter what color you are, as long as you play that fair, gruff newsman who also has a kind heart and all of that. It doesn't matter. You just want to get a good actor who's going to, do a great job, and I think he's going to.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. It's interesting because there were a lot of people when they saw that photo of the cast going, "Where's Perry? Isn't Perry in this?" And then next thing you know, we're getting an announcement: Perry White is in this. So I don't know how big a role he'll have, but nevertheless, Wendell Pierce is part of the cast now for the 2025 film Superman. All right, so that was an additional cast member, and then as I said, they have started filming. The commencement of filming took place in all places. Svalbard in Norway. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's obviously a very snowy, icy region, and that would lend us to believe that we're going to see the Fortress of Solitude. And now, this is not the Fortress of Solitude that we will see in Superman, the upcoming movie. This is just a representation. I think it's either from, I think it might have been from Superman Returns, where Lex and his crew walk into the fortress, or it might even be a representation of the fortress from Superman and Lois, where Clark and Lois take their sons there. But this is an artist's impression. This is not an image from the Superman upcoming film, but it is a representation of the Fortress of Solitude, which we imagine, considering they are, and he said, we have filmed the first scenes in Svalbard, which show Superman fleeing to the Fortress of Solitude. Now, why he's fleeing there, what he's fleeing from, we don't know, but he mentions the Fortress of Solitude, which is why I included this image in the post. And here he says, we wanted a place that was beautiful and felt like being in the middle of the Arctic, so we looked at several places in the world, but there were many things that sold Svalbard for us over the other places. First, there is the natural beauty, but there's also the fact that you'll find a varied landscape here that you won't find anywhere else. Nature gives a special feeling. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And I mean, most of the others were all filmed on sound stages and that kind of thing. But at least we're going to get we're actually going to see the actual snow and all of that surrounding it. How it will look, I don't know. But
well, it explains now the chest logo, the chest shield that we saw here, that there is ice on top of it. Obviously filmed
ice and snow.
Why there was snow and ice and that around on this particular photo. So very interesting that they are filming on location, or were filming on location there in Norway, and obviously maybe for some interior Fortress of Solitude locations, probably on sound stage somewhere. But for exterior shots, they went to Norway. So pretty cool. They're already filming, well underway now. Things are in motion, and can't wait for more updates. And James Gunn seems very happy to give us updates on the progress.
Yeah, and there's just more to come.
Yeah, and more to come is going to be in Cleveland and Cincinnati, which I think we mentioned previously. They have the Ohio Department of Development gave us the news that they have given access to the film under the codename Genesis, with some tax incentives through the state's film program to film in both Cleveland and Cincinnati. Now, I put this photo as part of that announcement, which is the Cincinnati Union Terminal, which is the inspiration for the design for the Super Friends Hall of Justice. That does not mean that they will necessarily be filming here and that they will see the Hall of Justice, but it is a very familiar and popular, iconic place in Cincinnati, which is where they are filming, but not necessarily filming at this particular location. But it just was somewhere that I thought was representative of that particular city, so that's why I included that image, because it obviously has some connection to the world of Superman, but we don't know if it will be included in the film. I just thought it was an interesting photo to include for Cincinnati's representation.
Yeah, it's appropriate.
It is appropriate. So yeah, filming there in Cincinnati and Cleveland, as well as obviously in Atlanta. So very cool to see all that. All right, we're just over the halfway mark of tonight's show. Again, apologies for our early mishap with the technical issues, missing out on a couple of minutes there. Hopefully everyone was able to tune in and stay tuned in. We have 62 live viewers with us at the moment, which is huge for us. So stick with us. We're going to take a quick live break, play some messages, come back on the flip side to talk about animated movies. We've got some comic book stuff, television stuff, and a crossover between animated and comic book things that are happening in the world of Superman. Stay with us. We've got so much more in the second half hour of tonight's program. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program. Just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Hi, Steven. This is Lois Lane from the Daily Planet.
Do you want to start a video podcast but don't know where to start? Or maybe you've been podcasting for a while but you're bored with the traditional audio-only format. Either way, I've got just the thing. Ecamm Live is the #1 choice for busy podcasters who want to easily create professional-looking video podcasts. But why? They're more engaging for your audience, and video keeps their attention, so they're more likely to stick around and become part of your community. Let me show you just how easy it is with Ecamm Live. You can drag and drop graphics right onto your show to make it more professional. And if you have a co-host or guests, bringing them onto your show is a breeze. You can even tweak the look of your guest video no matter where they are. And you can set up your scenes in advance, so when your show starts, you can play your intro and easily switch between your scenes during the show. So it really simplifies your workflow and eliminates the need for a bunch of editing. Plus, your isolated audio tracks are saved right onto your computer along with your high-quality video files. So there's no more waiting for a link to download your files. They're right there. And once you're done, you can upload it to your syndication platform. It's time to give your audience what they really want. So if you're ready to become a visual authority and take your podcast to the next level with video, join the Ecamm fam. Thousands of podcasters have already made the switch. We're just waiting on you.
I'm freezing! Superman!
Uh-oh, sounds
sounds like Lisa and Scott are trapped in the icy cave of that frosty-faced villain, Captain Cold. This is a job for Superman.
My fast freeze zapper will freeze Superman forever.
No way, Captain. Here, kids, my new Superman hot cocoa mix is the super tasting way to warm up.
It's really sweet and chocolatey.
And see, Captain Cold can't take this warm reception. New Superman hot cocoa, the super tasting way to warm up.
And we're back on Superman homepage live, where don't forget to give us a like, a thumbs up right now. It helps the algorithms to let people know that we are on a live show and that it's worth watching. So give us a thumbs up right now. Post a comment, even if you're just lurking, just say hi. It helps along as well. Give us a comment. All right, as I mentioned, in the animated movie front, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2, we got the official press release from Warner Brothers Home Video in regards to this upcoming sequel to the first part, which we now know will be available to purchase on digital and on 4K Ultra HD and in a limited edition steelbook packaging and on Blu-ray on April 23rd. So yeah, hoping part 2 is a little bit better than what we saw for part 1. Part 1 was probably more of an introduction on all the characters. Good to see both Superman and Supergirl on this image for this part 2 because Superman was missing. We had Ultraman on the first image for part 1.
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed the first part, but again, it's just kind of, the introduction, and hopefully this, starts to get to the heart of the story.
Yeah,
and then I'm just interested in, where they take it from there, especially, I don't want to spoil anything, but, especially with, Harbinger and all of that and how all of that kind of, took place. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, so April 23rd for the release of Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. All right, so on the TV side of things, as we know, Superman and Lois won't grace our screens until for its final season 4, until probably September, October this year. But while we know that the rest of the cast, other than Superman, Lois, and their sons, and Lex Luthor will probably be, the rest of them will probably just be bit part cameo type characters appearing here and there. We have had news of a new recurring cast member, and that will be played by Yvonne Chapman, who will be playing the character of Amanda McCoy. Now, if you're wondering who Amanda McCoy is, from the comic books, we heard that Amanda McCoy, if you remember back in Superman number 2, back in 1987, McCoy investigated Lana Lang, which led her to believe that Clark and Superman were one and the same. But when she brought her findings to Lex Luthor, he dismissed them, was pretty upset, couldn't believe that someone as powerful as Superman would ever be masquerading as a normal person, and so fired her. And then when she tried to prove her theory, she was eventually accidentally killed or murdered. So Amanda McCoy, Lex Luthor's right hand in this, an advisor, supposedly an ally of some kind in Superman and Lois, is described as intelligent, cunning, and loyal. Bit of a deep cut.
Yeah, and I find it interesting because her thing really was trying to prove that Superman and Clark, to show, hey, they're the same guy. Well, in the show, Lex already knows they're the same guy. So just think kind of interesting that they're using her character. But it is a deep cut, but it's
it's a nice nod to the comic books.
Enjoyable for us something enjoyable for us because we're so familiar with it. But we'll see how she's used.
I did see a few fans upset that they're bringing in a new recurring character when they're cutting so many of the other regular cast members to cameo appearances. But I guess if it's what's needed for the 10-episode story that they're telling for season 4, then so be it.
Yeah, and again, she may not be in every episode, and it might be a couple of episodes, and that's it. We don't know. But at this look, they're planning what they're planning, and she's part of that plan, and
Well said. It is what it is. All right,
Yeah.
so that's Superman and Lois. As I said, we're not expecting that on our screens until September, October this year for the 4th and final season. But the other thing on the TV that we are looking forward to is My Adventures with Superman Season 2. And while we don't have any news yet on when Season 2 of My Adventures with Superman will premiere, we do have this. It is a comic book that will appear on June 4th, and it will bridge the gap between Season 1 and Season 2. It is obviously set in the world of the animated series. Will be available pre-order Friday, March 15th, so the end of this week, but it will arrive on Tuesday, June 4th. It's written by Josie Campbell, who was a special guest on our show months ago during Season 1 of the series, and she is writing this comic book, and it says, she says, being the producer of My Adventures with Superman and bringing Clark Kent to TV screens around the world has been nothing but a dream come true for me. So I'm absolutely thrilled to that Pablo, who's the artist, and I get to bring fans even more adventures with Superman, this time in comic book form. The story is one we actually talked about in the writer's room, but we didn't have space for it in Season 1. So get ready for romance, comedy, superpowers, Jimmy Olsen talking a lot about how he's super rich now, and all the goodness of the show bundled into this action-packed mini-series. So it's a mini-series, comic book series that will, as I said, bridge the gap between Season 1 and Season 2. We don't yet have a premiere date for Season 2, but great to see we'll be getting a comic book series that will hopefully bring more fans to the TV series.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. I mean, it's such a good show.
Yeah.
That doing getting maybe another audience for it. I mean, there may have been some comic book people who just weren't interested and didn't like the look of it or whatever, and now they see the comic on the stand and they might say, well, I'll give it a shot and see if I like what's on the page, and then maybe I'll go watch the series.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't say here just how many issues. I'm looking through the press release and I can't see exactly where it says how many issues this mini-series might be, but the story is described as Clark Kent is a bit down and out, spending Christmas alone in Metropolis, but when he gets a tip about a monster in the sewers, Superman, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen spring into action to investigate this mystery. What is this monster that can absorb anything it touches, and why is it there in Metropolis? Sounds very much like Parasite, but we had a version of Parasite that was stopped in Season 1. So interesting,
right? Yeah, that is interesting because it's when I read that, I said, "Well, that's Parasite." I said, "But they've already had their version of Parasite."
So yeah,
this is a new version.
A new version, maybe something that happened as a offshoot of what happened with the other Parasite. We don't know. But we'll wait and see. So yeah, it's cool to see that they're doing a comic book series, and we'll be definitely reviewing that here at the Superman homepage when it is released. All right, talking about the comic book side of things, we'll get into that in a second because DC have made a couple of announcements. But let's get into the fan favorite segment of our show, which fans have been waiting eagerly to hear their responses to our question. Here we go. All right, so Mark, what was our fan favorite question from last show?
Other than Lois Lane, who is your favorite love interest for Superman? And JP Rocha wrote, my favorite love interest for Superman outside of Lois is Big Barda. Thank you, Sleaze and John Byrne. Sorry, Mr. Miracle.
Oops, turn that one off. There it is. There's the comic book that
there we go.
That's the one that had a lot of fans talking back in the day about.
That's the
infamous, yes, very infamous. So a cover with Big Barda and Superman locking lips, and yes,
it's not hard to imagine. I mean, there is a Wonder Woman quality there, so
yeah, definitely.
But if it's based on this story, that's a different story.
No, exactly. So thank you to JP for that one. Next up, we had, who was our next respondent? I'm getting that to right now. We have Lorenzo. Lorenzo wrote in saying, turn that back on. For me, it's not necessary to add the qualifier of other than Lois Lane. My favourite Superman love interest, period, is Lana Lang. I've always fallen into the Clark is the real person, Superman is a disguise camp as a fan, and by extension, I've always viewed Smallville rather than Metropolis or even Krypton as the character's true home. Lana represents Smallville, and it's always made most sense to me for Clark to be with someone who understands that part of him. I love the first love, high school sweetheart, girl next door aspect of Lana. She loves Clark for Clark, and as Clark says to Lana in the Smallville episode, Mortal, you're the only one I've ever really loved. It's only been you, Lana. There you go. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of in terms of the girl next door, in terms of Smallville, that is definitely, that the whole thing was taking place in Smallville. The whole thing was his relationship with Lana. His relationship with Lex, obviously, but the two of them, their love story. And so that makes a lot of sense. And Smallville was where he became the man, not Superman, but he became the man he would become, as Clark Kent. And, Lana may certainly have helped him along that way. And so that makes a lot of sense.
There you go. Very good. Next up.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, I would probably say that my favorite love interest for Superman other than Lois Lane would be Lana Lang. Looking at stories like John Byrne's The Man of Steel and Jeff Loeb's Superman for All Seasons, it is clear that her relationship with Clark Kent during his teenage years was absolutely critical in shaping the adult superhero, that he would later become. While I am a Lois and Clark shipper, I'll always be grateful for Lana for the impact she had on Clark during these formative years.
Yeah, fair enough. Good point. And Superman for All Seasons was definitely a great story for that relationship. Next up, we had Kenny Crowley Jr., who said, my favourite Superman love interest other than Lois Lane is Lana Lang. She was Clark Kent's first love and remained one of his closest friends. My favourite versions of Lana are the comics, Superman the animated series, and the TV series Superman and Lois. I like the fact that in the series she's a mother, which is nice. Take care, guys, and thanks for all the great work. Keep up the super amazing work. Thank you very much to Kenny, Ryan, Lorenzo, and JP for sending in those responses, and thank you for your patience in waiting for the fan favorite segment to be read out while we took a break.
Yes.
There you have it. So that was the fan favorite segment. What is our new question for the fan favorite segment of our show, Mark?
Our new question is, what do you think of the S-Shield for the new Superman movie?
Yeah, we talked about it here tonight. Let us know what your thoughts are in regards to the S-Shield that James Gunn has revealed for the 2025 film. Let us know your thoughts by getting involved in the fan favorite segment of our show. The email address that you need to respond to is info@supermanhomepage.com. That's info@supermanhomepage.com, and we will read out the responses that we get when we return to this feature in next week's episode. That was the fan favorite segment. All right, I'm going to jump into This Week in History. Bear with me. Here we go.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
All right, so here we go with This Week in History, and turning on the images right now for those who are watching us on YouTube. Remember, if you're watching or if you're listening to us as a podcast and you want to see the visuals that we're talking about, head to YouTube because our podcasts are now audio only, but our YouTube channel obviously is visuals as well. So we jump all the way back, nothing in 1944, we jump back to March 10th, 1954, where Superman number 89 was released. And in this one there were 3 stories: Captain Kent the Terrible, Superman of Skid Row, and 1 Hour to Doom, which is featured on the front cover there.
Lifting up a building.
Yeah, even though that hidden kryptonite bomb can destroy me as well as the city, I've got to keep looking for it, says Superman on the cover there. Alright, so that was 1954. We jump forward another 10 years to 1964. March 12th saw the release of Justice League of America, number 27, and Superman did appear in an episode, in a story in this particular issue. The I Who Defeated the Justice League was the title of the story there. Also in 1964 was World's Finest Comics number 141. There were two stories, the Olsen-Robin team versus the Superman-Batman team, and also a Lois Lane story called The Irresistible Lois Lane. Jimmy and Robin against Batman and Superman? Okay.
Yeah, they seem to be very happy to making them think that they're dead.
Then we don't have anything in 1974, so we jump straight 1984, where we have Superman number 396. We have here the battle for Superman's brain, with pencils by Kurt Swan, written by Joey Cavalieri.
Yeah, I know, and I think I may have said this before. This is not considered one of the best times for Superman, but this is around the time that I really started to collect.
Okay.
And so these mean something to me.
Cool, very cool. Then we jump another 10 years forward to March 1994, where March 15th saw the release of Superboy, the animated series number 4. Superboy number 4. It says Superboy the animated series there on the title, so that's an interesting one. Don't remember this one, but there you go.
Yeah, that's from the main series, right?
Yeah, it is. So it's just obviously playing with the title there, and Superboy's obviously promoting himself heavily in other mediums. Also that same week, March 15th, 1994, saw the release of Superman, the Man of Steel number 33, Under Siege, written by Louise Simonson, with pencils by John Bogdanov and inks by Dennis Yankee. Great cover. Very beastly Superman.
Remember that?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, when he absorbed all that power.
Exactly. Then we jumped another 10 years to 2004, where March 10th saw the release of Action Comics number 813, and there were two stories inside, Heaven and Gog. And very interesting image there.
Yeah, Michael Turner.
Yeah, Michael Turner, exactly.
I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then also March 10th, 2004 saw JLA number 94, Suffer the Little Children. Pencils by John Byrne in this one, and inks by Jerry Ordway, but the story was written by Christopher S. Claremont. Superman there on the cover.
Interesting. Yeah. Good cover and interesting combo.
Yeah, exactly. Then another just 10 years ago to this day, March 12th, 2014, The Terrible Truth was a story inside Justice League 3000 number 4, written by Keith Giffen. And also that same week we saw Justice League of America number 13, with It's All Behind You, and this one obviously features Superman on the cover there with the Justice League. Also that same week, a big week, Smallville Alien number 4 was released, as was Superboy number 29, Homeward Bound, the New 52 obviously, and also Superman Wonder Woman number 6 was released this week, 2014 as well. So a big week that week 10 years ago.
Yes.
There you have it with Zod and
Feora
on the cover, versing Superman and Wonder Woman. But in the real world, this is what we had in the real world. We've got Eddie Kathegi, who is playing Mr. Terrific in the upcoming Superman film. Eddie was, if I get my notes straight, I've got it there right here. Eddie was born on... I don't have my notes handy. Sorry, just bear with me 1 second. Eddie was born on March 10th in what year? 1979. He's not that young. 1979 in Nairobi, Kenya. He'll be playing Mr. Terrific. Also this week, traditionally recognised as the birthday of Perry White, March 12th, the editor of the Daily Planet. So that's an interesting one. Happy birthday, Perry. Dana Delaney, traditionally, who probably most famously is known as the voice of Lois Lane in Superman the Animated Series. She was born March 13th in 1956 in New York City. And lastly, sadly, Kirk Allen passed away on March 14th, Back in 1999, he was aged 88 and obviously played Superman in 2 serials, Superman and Atom Man versus Superman 1948 and 1950. There you go. That was This Week in History. So, ending on a sad note, but some great memories looking in the comic book side of things.
Absolutely.
All right, so that was This Week in History. Hopefully you enjoyed that. All right, looking at the comic book side of things, we've got 5 minutes to go, so we're going to power through these. DC announced a Absolute Power blockbuster event that will be taking place this June. I don't know what you think of this, Mark. It's been a while since we've had events, so to speak. Whoops, sorry, turn off Kirk Allen there. But a company-wide event throughout the dawn of DC. Amanda Waller's combination of pure ruthlessness and danger and dangerous alliances has placed her on the precipice of fulfilling her pledge, the elimination of all metahuman abilities planet-wide. This summer, her plans take a major step forward with Absolute Power, DC's big summer blockbuster.
Well, with Amanda Waller involved, we've had so many different either smaller events or even some bigger events that lately haven't seemed to have had a lot of impact on things going forward. This, for some reason, I seem to think this might have a little bit more of an impact, but I don't know. I just, it's another event I'll look into, see if I'm, interested in following. I mean, if it's following into all the books, I'll definitely follow it.
Yeah, we'll wait and see how that impacts on Superman as well. So that's where things are in the comic books. But let's have a look at comic books that are coming out this week, and there are a few of them to get through, including one that you reviewed. Here is the comic books coming out this week. Action Comics 1063 is out tomorrow, Tuesday, and it is available in a number of variant covers. Obviously, all very Bizarro focused, with the Bizarro story continuing on in there. Sinister Sons number 2 is also out this week, and that is also available in a couple of variant covers. Then the new series Suicide Squad Dream Team number 1 with Dreamer and obviously Bizarro included in that series, and that is also available in a number of variant covers. And then on the collected side of things, we have Batman Superman World's Finest Volume 3 Elementary hardcover that is out this week, and as is the Superman Silver Age Omnibus Volume 1 hardcover with a very famous Brainiac image there on the cover of that omnibus. That is also out this week. So a few interesting items to collect this week.
Yes, definitely.
And looking forward to your review of the Action Comics. There's also comic books coming out as part of McFarlane Toys' new Ghosts of Krypton range of action figures. This is a Page Punchers wave of figures, and as you can see there is Superman, there is also a Earth 2 Superman, there is Brainiac, Ghost Zod, so very interesting designs, and I'm not sure what the comic books that will be tied in and coming with the action figures is all about, but Ghosts of Krypton looks to be an interesting upcoming story that fans may want to grab a hold of.
Yes, I mean, is that going to be something ongoing, at least for DC going to be putting out, or just going along with the
action figures?
With the figures?
I don't know. We'd need to get some more details on that before we can really divulge or get into what that will all be about. But that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Want to thank my co-host Mark. Thank you, Mark, for joining me tonight, and it's good to be back.
Yes, it's nice to be back. It's nice to be back. I'm glad you had a good time.
Thank you very much. Want to thank our sponsors and patrons who I forgot to mention at the top of the show. Thank you to Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, and C. Ralph Adler for your support of the show. We appreciate you sponsoring our show. Thank you so much. If you want to join those folks and be a sponsor of the show, you can click the join button there on YouTube, or you can go to patreon.com/Superman homepage. There are different levels of memberships with different perks available. Mark and I will be back next week on Monday, March 18th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I forgot to mention, obviously, before I went away, that daylight savings would kick in for you guys over there, which would bring the show an hour earlier for people in the southern hemisphere like myself. So hopefully those fans were able to catch the show at an earlier time, Mark. So be aware that that will continue on as daylight savings has kicked on there in the US. So we will be at 1:30 p.m. if you're in Sydney moving forward for the next couple of weeks. But as I said, Mark and I will be back next week at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, US time. I hope you'll that's Pacific time in the US, yes. I hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Mark Lax. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.